Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Hello everyone, my name is Rameyza Alya and I am from Vocational High School Senopati Sedati, and today I want to tell you guys a story about our country's independence. Our story starts from the 6th and 9th of August 1945 during World War II, when the United States detonated 2 atomic bombs on Hiroshima and Nagasaki, respectively. This bombing devastated the Japanese, as their people continued to suffer even after the attack. Starting from the nuclear fallout and lack of infrastructure, and from the horrible diseases caused by the nuclear radiation for weeks, months, and even years to come. And after this incident, the Japanese soon surrendered to the Allies, thus signaling the end of World War II. But even after this devastating tragedy, the Japanese were still very stubborn, and they tried their best to not let the Indonesians know about the news of their surrender to the Allies. But alas, the Indonesian younger generation managed to get a hold of this information. And even though at the time this was just a rumor, the Indonesians have longed for their independence. So they saw this as a golden opportunity, which the radical, politicized Indonesian male youth generation eagerly seized. Soon after, the Japanese announced the PPKI, which is an organization dedicated to help the Indonesians prepare for their independence and for their future government. But the Indonesians ran into a problem where the older and younger generations were on different sides. The older generations, like Sukarno and Hatta, sided with the PPKI, while the younger generations urged Sukarno and Hatta to proclaim the independence without the involvement of the PPKI, because they were afraid that their independence would be seen as something sponsored by the Japanese, and it wouldn't be taken as seriously by the Allies. Soon, a formal meeting was held by the Indonesian younger generations, concluding that the Indonesian independence shouldn't depend on other parties and were instead the rights of its people. But even after proposing this idea to Sukarno and Hatta, they still insisted that the Indonesian independence should be carried out through the PPKI, thus leading us to the kidnapping of Rengas Dengklok, where the younger generations brought Sukarno and Hatta to Rengas Dengklok, trying to get them away from Jakarta and to distance themselves from the Japanese influence. This incident moved Sukarno and Hatta to proclaim independence immediately, and a meeting was held to make the proclamation text at Admiral Tadashi Maeda's house. There, Sukarno wrote the proclamation text, and Sayuti Melik typed it out with several changes. After the proclamation text was completed, a historic day for the Indonesian nation occurred. The Indonesian independence was marked by the reading of the proclamation text by Sukarno on August 17, 1945, where the reading was attended by all Indonesians. And as soon as the proclamation text was read by Sukarno, the news of the Indonesian independence spread throughout the entire country. And this was the story of how our ancestors claimed our country's independence from our colonizers. And to me, This story is my personal favorite because it is such a beautiful and inspiring story. But unfortunately, this brings us to the end of my story today. Thank you so much for listening. I hope you enjoyed it. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.